This is the Google Pixel 4, a phone that looked fun, came in playful colors, and really tried to keep up with the success of the Pixel 3. But when it launched, it was divisive. No giant notch, but a massive forehead. No fingerprint sensor, but a radar chip. It felt like Google was swinging for the fences, but did they hit or miss? Jump ahead to 2025, and I wanted to see if the Pixel 4 still holds up. The battery, the software, that legendary camera, does it still deliver or has time left it behind? First impression after years, it still feels great in the hand. Not exactly premium, but comfortable. The size, the weight, it's just right. It's the kind of phone you rarely see among modern flagships. Small enough to use one-handed, solid enough to feel intentional. A phone that doesn't demand a case, doesn't stretch your pockets, and doesn't make you feel like you're holding a glass that's gonna fall out of your hand and leave you screwed. There's something reassuring about that. The display, aesthetically, yeah, it's a bit weird. That forehead is huge, but practically, it's fine. No notches, no cutouts, just uninterrupted screen real estate. The 90Hz refresh rate still feels smooth. It doesn't scream old. The OLED panel, while not the brightest in the world, still looks sharp, vibrant, and honestly better than some of the newer budget phones on the market. The only real downside, that forehead sticks out like a phone from 2014, and it takes you back to the good old HTC days. But there was a reason for that forehead. Google had a vision. Inside was Soli radar, a sensor designed to enable hands-free gesture controls and super fast face unlock. It was an ambitious bet, but one Google never really followed through on. It felt futuristic for about 5 minutes before I forgot it even existed. But face unlock, that's a different story. It's still fast, still seamless, and still one of the best implementations I've used. Even in 2025, it feels more intuitive than a fingerprint sensor in some cases. And honestly, if the trade-off for this level of usability is a big forehead, I'll take it. Now, software. This is where things start to fall apart. The Snapdragon 855 still capable, but official updates dead at Android 13. That's why I slapped on some custom ROMs, pixel builds for the features, Lineage OS for Android 15. And guess what? It runs great, smooth, snappy, and entirely usable. Proof that Google could have kept this phone alive if they wanted to. There's no real reason this device couldn't be running the latest Android, except for business decisions, and that's frustrating. Then, there's the camera. The Pixel 4 took heat for skipping an ultra-wide lens in favor of telephoto. At the time, people trolled Google for going with just 2 cameras, one main sensor and one telephoto, when ultra-wide was the trend. Google's reasoning? They said that while ultra-wide was cool, it wasn't as useful as telephoto. And honestly, back then, I was like, bruh. But looking at my own usage now, I get it. I actually use the zoom lens way more than ultra-wide. A few years ago, I was all about those ultra-wide shots, architecture, Instagram stories, that whole aesthetic. But now that era has passed, and I'm reaching for telephoto more. And when a phone doesn't have it, I still catch myself trying to zoom in on things every now and then. And the images? Still fantastic. Classic pixel contrast, incredible night sight. The computational photography that made Google's cameras legendary is still doing its thing here. Faces look natural, details are sharp, and low-light shots still hold up against some modern mid-range phones. Even the front camera, better than the Pixel 6, at least in my opinion. Video? Yeah, this is where the magic stops. 4K at 30 frames per second lacks detail, stabilization is hit or miss, and bad exposure? All over the place. It's clear Google didn't start taking video seriously until later Pixels. The footage is passable, but compared to modern phones, it just doesn't hold up. And now, the part that'll make your head explode. The battery. 2800 mAh in 2025? That's not gonna cut it. 2, maybe 3 hours of heavy use. 5 if you baby it, you'll be reaching for a charger constantly. And with just 18-watt charging, it's not bouncing back anytime soon. The battery was bad in 2019, and it's even worse now. No amount of optimization can save it from physics. If there was one thing that made the Pixel 4 genuinely hard to recommend, even a year after its debut, it was this. But let's be real, this phone was never about endurance. It was about Google trying something different, pushing ideas forward, even if they didn't all stick. And in some ways, it worked. The size, the feel, the camera, even face unlock, those things still hold up. But the short software support, weak battery and half-baked experiments, those hold it back. So, can you use it? Yes. Would I recommend it? Not really. Why was this the Google phone? Because it was ambitious. It was weird. It was a swing that didn't fully connect, but it showed what Google wanted Pixels to be. Now, if you want to know why iPhones feel like a case of Stockholm Syndrome and why people are so obsessed with them, that video is right here. I'll see you there.